Hello everybody and welcome to the Mike from LA1 Network here on YouTube and welcome to my Monday Night Raw review of July 1st, 2012. 13, excuse me. I wasn't a fan of Backlash here until after the day after the 25th anniversary of SummerSlam, and I'm going to the 26th annual. What a privilege. So yeah, overall I thought this was a good Raw, but it wasn't nowhere near fantastic. The Raw after WrestleMania was good compared to this. So let's get started. Vicky Guerrero made the announcement that we're gonna have a champion versus champion match between John Cena and Alberto Del Rio. Yeah, but that one we'll talk about that later. But first, Daniel Bryan came out sporting a brand new T-shirt, "Respect the Beard." Yep, which I thought that was kind of clever. All five of the superstars competing in the Money in the Bank contract match for the WWE Championship was in a frenzy. Daniel Bryan guaranteed victory, which brought out Sheamus. And then all of a sudden, out came Randy Orton. Then all of a sudden, Kane came out. Then Christian. And finally, the best of the world, CM Punk came out, sporting a new t-shirt of his own, which is kind of like what he used at Money in the Bank 2 years ago. Oh, almost 2 years ago. So, yeah, so overall, I thought that was a great segment. 2 out of 3 stars for that one. Next was The Shield versus Christian and the Usos. Remember, last Friday on SmackDown, Christian hit Edge's spear on SmackDown to win and hand the Shield their second loss in the six-man tag team match. The Shield, we all thought Christian was going to get the victory, but in the end, Dean Ambrose got the pin, and the Shield avenged their loss on SmackDown. But the Usos, and they also, a promo was announced that the Usos and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns will compete for the tag team titles. It'll be the Usos versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns on the Money in the Bank kickoff on YouTube. So that one I'm going to look forward to. Then came Dolph Ziggler versus Jinder Mahal. This is probably one of the throwaway matches for me. After we all knew whoever it was, Dolph was going to get the victory before his Money in the Bank match. And it turns out Dolph Ziggler hits the zigzag after escaping the camel clutch by Mahal. And then all of a sudden Heath Slater and Drew McIntyre tried to attack Ziggler on a 2-on-1 assault, but Ziggler knocked them both out, and he stood on the announce table to the delight of the fans. The show will go on. Next came the big match, Kane versus Randy Orton, with Daniel Bryan as the special guest referee. And boy, this one could not be... this is probably one of the worst matches for me, because, well, Daniel Bryan... Daniel Bryan won this match twice. Both by fast count by Daniel Bryan. So that's all I got to say about that one. Next became Sheamus and the returning of the Fandango came back, and boy, that was a big mistake. Because Fandango lost the account out, which I was afraid he was going to get a concussion again. But what are you going to do? So we may not have a concussion. Then came one of the big shocks of the night. The Miz versus Ryback. I thought, okay, the Ryback's going to win this one. But turns out because of that injury on SmackDown, and it turns out Chris Jericho was doing commentary Y2J, and there was a huge Y2J chant throughout the match, and Ryback saying, "You're watching," and Jericho says, "Thank you." That was the best part of the whole match. But then all of a sudden, the Miz did enough damage that, and Ryback told, "Stop the match, stop the match." So the Miz pulls off the big upset by beating Ryback. Then Chris Jericho didn't too well with Ryback forfeiting. Then Y2J left the commentary table and hit Ryback with the code breaker. That's all I gotta say about that. And then Mark Henry addressed the fans, saying that there was jealousy, politics, and backstabbing that held him back on winning the WWE Championship. But here he has a shot, and I think he may have a good, legit shot here. Next came probably the best match of the night: CM Punk and Curtis Axel versus the Primetime Players. And all I gotta say about this one, the Primetime Players dominated this match. All because Curtis Axel wanted to start this match, but Punk wanted to start it. So this could be the start of CM Punk's face turn and Curtis Axel being heel. Then all of a sudden, CM Punk got But then the straight edge superstar hit Young with this go to sleep. Then all of a sudden, Curtis Axel tagged himself in, and he got the pin instead of Punk. So overall, this could be something big. Next came the Divas match, and obviously I didn't watch this one. It was Kaitlyn versus Alicia Fox, which I thought Alicia Fox is on NXT. So overall, Kaitlyn does beat Alicia Fox. But then when the bell rang, AJ came out, revealing a modeling photo, which was a phony photo. All it was Kaitlyn, a Photoshop of Kaitlyn as a fat person, which I knew that was photoshopped when I saw it, when it played on screen. But the best part was like, actually Big E. If you gotta go, if you haven't seen Monday Night Raw, it should be up by now. Big E was Big E was usually stone faced, but here Big E was laughing. He was like, "What the hell's that?" Oh my god, that was probably the best part of the whole match right there. I thought Botchamania is probably gonna like that. Next, Stephanie McMahon confronted Vicky Guerrero. Well, Mr. McMahon and Triple H were questioning, and here it is. And actually, this is probably what most people wanted to see this happen a long time ago. Stephanie will do a job evaluation of Vicky Guerrero next week on Raw. And speaking of next week, it's finally going to happen. This is probably not as long as Fandango. The Wyatt family will make their debut next week in Baltimore. Yeah, that's where Raw is next week, Baltimore, Maryland. And I am so excited because the promos got me so excited. Next came Antonio Cesaro versus Cody Rhodes. And before that, we got another shocker. Jack Swagger came back. Yeah, weed the people. He came back as Antonio Cesaro came out. And it looks like another miscommunication happened between Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. So this could be a Cody Rhodes face turn or a Damien Sandow face turn. It could be anybody at this. It could be anybody's guess at this point. It could be anyone, but I'm guessing it's Cody that's gonna turn face again. Next came the main event: John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio. Overall, I think this was the best match of the night, despite the Biggie crack up. So as you can see, overall, this was probably the best match they were trying to supply the STF to Del Rio. Then all of a sudden, Mark Henry comes out trying to throw John Cena off his game. Then we thought Del Rio got it, but nope. Out comes Dolph Ziggler. And then John Cena hits the Attitude Adjustment, 1, 2, 3, and that's at the end, and that's the end of Raw. But then the ending was that Mark Henry got Cena's championship belt, but every time he went to get it, Mark Henry was threatening like he was going to beat him up. And then at the end of Raw, we saw the last Bray Wyatt promo. So next week he's coming. So overall, it was not bad of a Raw in general. It actually was pretty good, but next week it better be good because it has someone on the end tomorrow. Next week's Raw, Vicky might get fired.